exist on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. I would like to invite you to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can hit us up on Discord via discord.lrn.fm so you can sound like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Right now, we're having a discussion about climate change and global warming, and it's actually an issue that I find really concerning because it just goes to show how divided we've truly become, where we've reached a point where if you want to know what is actually true in regard to global warming or climate change or whatever we would like to call it, you're not going to find it.
No, you're not, because you've got the so-called what do they even call themselves? I think they call themselves
climatologists? No,
the people on the left who call the climate skeptics science deniers.
Yeah.
When the skeptics are actually looking at the science.
Yeah, the issue with the science, as far as I can tell, is that, I remember in 2007 when it was revealed that one of the global warming scientists had doctored a lot of data and had omitted a lot of information, specifically to peddle the narrative that global warming was happening, it was certain, and it was man-made.
Right. Well, they have to do that because, well, if climate change isn't really all that bad, then they're going to lose a lot of grant money.
Evidently. So if you want to find out the truth about it, you have to take that into consideration. Of course, so many people don't, because there was that study done last year that showed once a person reads a false news story,
they tend to believe it.
Yeah, and even seeing the updated, corrected version isn't going to change how they feel about it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. I even saw that last week with the Covington Catholic story. Some people, even when given the updated information, refuse to believe it.
Yep.
Even when it came from the media outlets they said they trusted.
CNN in particular is exceptional at this. Like when Trayvon Martin, I think it was Trayvon Martin, was shot and killed, they had his sister on the news. And it sounded like she was calling for peace and, all of that. But if you look at the entire video, she was saying things like, we need to go into these white suburbs and burn these people's houses down.
Oh.
Yeah. So through just careful editing of what she actually said, they completely inverted her message. And their narrative they were peddling was that, she was this 16-year-old girl whose brother was killed and she was taking the high road with it, when the exact opposite was true. But having that pointed out didn't prevent her from being a champion of the leftist cause. You know, they continued praising her. Oh, she's taken the high road and advocating peace and all of that.
You know, you don't fool me. I know that you know what she actually said.
Yeah. And CNN did ultimately correct it through one of their reporters with like 250 followers on Twitter. That was how they corrected it. That they inadvertently changed the girl's message when they were editing what she said.
It was always inadvertently.
Yeah, they certainly did not mean to make it sound like she was saying something she absolutely was not saying. And we have the same thing going on with global warming, where I would like to know, not really because I don't care, you know, if humans are causing climate change, then it's really a problem that humans are going to have to deal with, you know. The market, or nature, if you will sort it out. If we change the environment so much that it becomes hostile, then you can't have people out there cutting down trees. They'll just die of sweat, dehydration, heat strokes, and all of that.
Right.
And therefore, you have less people out there cutting down trees and changing the environment. It's a problem that will fix itself. And people are like, oh, but the Great Coral Reef is dying. I don't really care, because there will be a new coral reef off the coast of California or in the Gulf of Mexico or something like that, or some new world wonder for humanity to marvel at 50,000 years from now. I don't care. I'm not so attached to this current moment in the 4.6 billion years of Earth history and the 2.5 million years of human history that I'm going to get all bent out of shape.
Why is all change bad? Why do we have to keep everything just as it is, or worse? You know what I keep thinking when I hear leftists talk about social changes like this is the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah.
Do you remember what was written on the Georgia Guidestones about
it was like
what the population should be?
Wasn't it? But yeah, it was like 500 million as the maximum.
Yeah, 500 million people in balance with nature or something like that.
Yeah, that's utter crap. We are not overpopulated to the degree that we're, and even if we are, again, it's a problem that will fix itself. You want to talk about denying science? Let's talk about denying science. You're worried about human overpopulation? I'm sorry. That is an issue that will fix itself. We'll run out of food. We'll start dying en masse. Bam, overpopulation solved.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there quite yet.
And their argument is, oh, but so many people will die. Well, then we didn't pass the evolutionary test. I don't know what to tell you. That just seems to be the way it is. If we wipe ourselves out through nuclear holocaust or through global warming, then we just suck at existing and didn't deserve to.
Yeah, in 100 million years, hopefully another intelligent life form will come along and not mess it up.
Yeah, and I realize that's a pretty cynical view of things, but I would also argue that it's the realistic one. I don't think that humanity will become extinct. It's a possibility, sure, but...
Well, sure it is.
What isn't a possibility? I think that any sort of man-made climate change will ultimately fix itself, and sure, there may be a lot of people who die from it, but I think it will prove ultimately to be a valuable learning experience in the history of humanity.
You know, I think if humanity is not going to go extinct, because we'll have a permanent settlement on Mars before we really mess up this planet.
I think so. I would like to see that. And,
because I don't think we will really mess up this planet anyway.
No, I don't think we will either. I don't think we can, because, we reached that point where it starts being counterproductive.
I suppose you could if you just launched all the nukes at every point on Earth. Then, yeah, you could really mess things up for a few million years. But
yeah. But people are like, oh, we're destroying all of the arable land, all of the forests and things like that. Well, if we don't have oxygen, we don't breathe, and people die, and then trees grow.
And then the continents will drift, and everything will be under the ocean again, and the ocean bottom will rise to the surface, and we'll have totally new continents.
Yeah, it's what it means to exist inside of an ecosystem, really. And I just don't see it as any particular problem that we might one day reach a point where most of humanity has failed the evolutionary test and has wiped themselves out. It's tragic, sure, and I would rather humanity avoid that, but not to the extent that I want to take people's freedom away. If we kill ourselves because freedom is this rope and we've used it to hang ourselves, then so be it. Who was the guy who said, "Give me liberty or give me death"? That's what
Patrick
I'm saying.
Henry. Yeah.
I don't think that we should have this mindset that, oh no, I would rather live in a prison state where I don't have any freedom than risk dying to something that could have been prevented if people were more responsible.
What are we living for?
Well, we'll be back here in just a few minutes on LRN.FM.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Catch the Call to Freedom at its new time, weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. The Call to Freedom is the only live drive-home call-in show in the U.S. with a segment devoted to cryptocurrencies. Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, live from Vertcoin Studios in New Hampshire. Learn about what makes cryptocurrencies so great and why you should care about them. Updates on new coins and ICOs, and warnings of scams. Plus, hear from traders, whales, developers, and big names in the crypto world. You can also win crypto coins or tokens every episode. Just listen for the faucet sound and be the 5th caller to get free Dash, Litecoin, Vertcoin, Verge, or other cryptocurrencies. The Call to Freedom with Will and Aria, featuring Crypto Hour. Broadcast internationally through our BitPlus network satellite. Weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. on LRN FM.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom live on LRN.fm. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.fm.
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We've been discussing global warming, but I think we'd probably like to move on. We've kicked that horse pretty nicely. Austin Peterson has an interesting question coming to us from the libertarianrepublic.com. It's just a contradiction in terms, if ever there was one. Why do NPR and Barack Obama follow gay sex toy Twitter accounts?
Well, that's a good question. Why does well, I'm sure there are people who will follow those accounts, but why Barack Obama? And why? Who was the other one?
NPR.
No, who was the other person who was following these gay sex toy Twitter accounts?
He didn't specify. They
Barack Obama and
NPR.
What?
National Public Radio.
Oh, NPR is following a gay sex toy Twitter account?
Multiple, apparently.
Okay. I must not be understanding something here because Austin Peterson is the person writing this article. NPR and Barack Obama are following the Twitter accounts.
It's on his site. I don't know if he was actually the one who sat down to write it.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because I'm not looking at the story. I just want to make sure I understand what's going on. Who's following the Twitter accounts?
Whoever that was who just called, give us a call back at 603-283-6160. I did not get to it in time. But apparently both NPR News and former President Barack Obama appear to follow a few interesting Twitter accounts. Fleshjack, a gay sex toy manufacturer, as well as an account called Stud Julian, are both followed by the news outlet and the former president.
Well, that's an interesting one.
It's unclear why. I really need to know more about Fleshjack. Their tagline is that it's the #1 gay sex toy in the world.
What is a Fleshjack?
I don't know.
Wait, do I even want to know?
It sounds similar to a fleshlight.
But that's the opposite. So one thing that happens a lot with Twitter accounts is that people get rid of them. You can actually give a Twitter account to someone else that's technically against the terms of service, but this happens all the time where if you want a Twitter account with some name and someone else has it, you can get it from them. They just have to give you the password to it, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I suspect it was probably some intern or something like that who followed these pages for Barack Obama.
So it could have been that. I was thinking it might have been that someone else had the Fleshjack Twitter account when these people followed it, and then Fleshjack, this company, got hold of the Twitter account.
That could be it as well. Well, we have a caller on the line, so let's go to them. They wanted to discuss the global warming issue that we were discussing just a moment ago. It is Conrad from Ohio. How are you doing today, Conrad?
Oh, I'm doing good. I've listened to your show on and off, and haven't had the chance to call. I've usually been working, so I got off work early today.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you're talking about how cold it was. I graduated in '82, and I remember that year and the next year, '83, at Christmas time, it was like 25, 30 below zero. I remember that because I milked cows by hand out in the barn with no heat, so.
And it was 25 below zero then?
In Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it happens from time to time. And then in '84, I had this Corvair convertible, and I drove around on Christmas Day with the top down because it was 60 degrees.
I believe that.
So,
I believe it.
So it's amazing, the difference in say a year. We never played hockey until '82 and '83 when it actually got cold enough for us to get the pond froze where we could safely do that. And then, and then 2 years later, it was so warm that you could drive around with a convertible with the top down. It's funny that people my age forget that, and I'm like, well, don't you remember?
So is your contention that it's getting colder or that it's getting warmer?
Well, it just changes. The weather changes. It's just the way it is.
Sure.
But when they talk about, man-made global warming and CO2. If you look at how the atmosphere is made, we're like 21% oxygen and 78% nitrogen,
right,
and 1% argon or something like that. And then it's like this. There's a 0.5% left or thereabouts that everything that isn't oxygen, nitrogen, and argon shares. So that's CO2, water vapor, radon, krypton, xenon, helium, hydrogen. And, it's amazing when you think about it that the plants are even alive.
How so?
I mean, with that little, we'd be dead if we tried to breathe an oxygen at that level, we'd be dead. We couldn't do it. It's really amazing the plants can survive on such a trace amount of...
What worth mentioning is that the atmosphere wasn't always this way. It's also worth mentioning that plants have evolved to extract that small amount of carbon from the atmosphere, but it used to be absolutely overrun with carbon dioxide, like to the extent of Venus. And nature handled that by evolving an organism called cyanobacteria that went on to evolve into plants. But it did exactly the same thing. It consumed all of the carbon dioxide and produced nitrogen and oxygen in the process. And it destroyed its own environment by overpopulating, by finding this smorgasbord of resources there. And now there's no cyanobacteria. But they did evolve into plants, which animals need in order to eat.
So now the animals eat the plants and breathe the oxygen.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful little circle of life. And it concerns me how so many people get caught up on this tiny little microscopic slice and go, we have to cling to this in perpetuity.
Yeah, I have a degree in geology and history, and I got into a big argument with an astronomy professor at YSU because he was pushing that crap. And it's funny because when they can't rebut what you say, they start doing stupid things like making faces and I'm not really a confrontational person, but I was like, you know what, you do this to me again and you'll find out. But yeah, he but it's funny because they just make stupid arguments, or they make fun of you when you're trying to say, well, it doesn't hold up to scrutiny.
Sure.
I've told people, if you look at, and this is a theory on my part, but if you look at the planet that does have CO2-based greenhouse gases, greenhouse effect, that would be Venus, and it has the most volcanoes. And if you look at where our background CO2 is coming from, it's coming from the oceans, and that's where we have most of our volcanoes. So I believe that what CO2 we have, it's being kept at the level we have that allows the plants to live, is probably coming from the mid-ocean ridges producing CO2 as part of just the volcanic process.
Sure. But that's certainly a valid hypothesis. There's no amount of CO2 in the atmosphere that would bother me because we do already know that plants and trees, they are actually evolving already in order to deal with it. They're becoming more efficient at absorbing carbon dioxide and producing oxygen. I think that deforestation is probably the biggest issue, especially running juxtaposed with so-called climate change. But even then, I think the issue will fix itself. Well, we're going out to break. We'll be back here in just a few minutes, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere on LRN.FM.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you to go this way? You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa, hey. Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is viewing ain't gonna make it. Wait on the count. Now. Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Have you ever wanted to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them, bust people for drugs, and then sell the drugs on the side for a nice little bonus? Have you ever wanted to enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork? Then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, produced by several members of the Libertarian Party Audacious Caucus. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone and escape accountability with the magical phrase, "I feared for my life." Don't want to serve and protect? No problem. Neither do cops. So just focus on your promotion by turning people into sources of revenue for your department, ultimately making your way to being chief of police. Shoot someone over a broken tail light and harass peaceful people over arbitrary code violations. You know, typical cop stuff. Get it now at thinbluelinegame.com. Again, that's thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and batteries not included. Speaking of police, police in Houston have become particularly butthurt over people on the internet saying mean things.
Well, you know, if they can't take mean words, do they make a vest to protect you from words? Like a bulletproof vest for words?
Well, to be fair, he is a bit more justified in being upset than just people saying mean things on the internet. But apparently the president of the Houston Police Officers Union on Monday tore into those targeting law enforcement officers hours after a shooting left 5 cops injured and none dead. Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe so.
Joe Gamaldi, the union president, gave an impassioned statement after the incident saying enough is enough. Look, 5 officers got shot. None of them were killed. How many people have cops killed so far in 2019?
1,000? 2,000?
It can't be that high. It was like 1,800 throughout of 2018, I think.
We probably won't have stats on that for a while. But 2019. Okay. This year
56 people have been shot and killed by police this year. This year.
And those numbers are not complete, I'm sure.
That's more than 2 a day. And these people are crying because 5 of them got shot and injured. I'm telling you.
When they were doing something they shouldn't have been doing in the first place.
Yeah, stop murdering 56 freaking people and we'll stop shooting back. 2 suspects were also killed in the incident. So you killed the people doing it.
Yeah, this was a drug raid.
Is that what happened? Because
this was
is
just
the first
a drug
I've heard
raid.
about it.
That's all.
Okay,
it's the war on drugs.
Leave peaceful people alone to imbibe substances that they wish to imbibe, and this kind of crap won't happen. Now, I want to speak on behalf of the 5,200 brave men and women who work in the Houston Police Department. Why do they have so many cops? And the other 800,000 police officers who are working with these streets every single day are putting their lives on the line. We are sick and tired of having targets on our back. Welcome to being an American citizen, where we're shot at about 10 times the rate by police than police themselves are shot.
Oh, you have a target on your back. Are you nuts? We have a target on our back.
Yeah, I get harassed quite regularly by the police here in Keene, and thankfully they don't escalate the situation, but they do.
They haven't shot you yet.
And they haven't even ticketed me because it's not worth it to them. I'm a headache waiting to happen, and they know that. But they do like pulling me over and delaying me and being
annoying.
Annoying. And then finally sending me on my way 30 minutes later. They have done that multiple times in the last month. That's having a target on your back. I have this gang of predators out there watching for me and intentionally pulling me over. So if people out there get fed up with that, and with you shooting people when you pull them over, I'm one of the lucky ones, sure, and they start shooting back, I don't want to hear it. It reminds me of Jackie flipping out saying, how come I can't crap on Chris Cantwell's hood without him threatening to shoot me? And the police here are going, how come we can't just kill 56 Americans without them wanting to shoot us?
Right.
Stop doing the crap that you're doing that is causing this issue, and the conditional threat, which is that if you continue shooting us, you're going to have a war that you can't win, will never be fulfilled.
They're already not winning the war.
And for the ones who are out there spreading the rhetoric that police officers are the enemy, well, just know we've all got your number now, and we're going to be keeping track of all y'all.
Oh, did he just make a threat?
And we're going to be making sure we're going to be holding you accountable every time you stir the pot. I believe.
What does he mean by that? Because yeah.
As a statement on morality and nothing else, not good strategy, not advice, not a suggestion, but I firmly believe that all police officers should be shot on sight. Come at me, Houston.
Ooh.
You're ridiculous. And I say that because they do this. They're road pirates. They're thugs. They're murderers. They're rapists. They're criminals. And they flaunt their membership in this gang openly. It would be like if every single Crip out there just ran around in a red shirt or a blue shirt or whatever color they wear, or the bandana or whatever. It's like, we don't care. The police can't do anything about it because they're the top dogs. And that's what the police are. They're the top dogs as ordained by the state. So they ride through the land, raping, pillaging.
They're the biggest, most powerful gang.
Yeah. Murdering, assaulting, kidnapping.
And now threatening.
with absolute
Everybody.
impunity. I mean, play stupid games and win stupid prizes. You go around assaulting, shooting, and kidnapping people, eventually people are going to get fed up and we're going to shoot back. I'm not saying people should as a statement of suggestion or advice. I'm saying it about morality. You would be morally right to shoot police officers on sight, but you should not do it.
Because there are more of them than there are of you.
Yeah, we do not have the numbers right now for that sort of thing to fly. Maybe one day people will get fed up by being murdered by police. 56 this month.
56 this month, and that's all the ones we know about that have been reported. Some of those reports are delayed months.
998 in 2018, which is actually down from 2017. No, it's up. 2017 was 987. That's weird because I've been watching these numbers pretty closely for quite a while, and
yeah, I thought the number was higher than that.
Yeah, it was at least 1,100 for 2017 or so, I thought. Maybe I'm thinking of 2016.
That could be. That could be.
No, it was 963. So it seems to go up about 1 or 2% every single year, from 963 to 987 to 998 to 56 already this month.
Now let's compare this to how many cops are getting killed each year. Because that's the statistic.
Well, if we don't count the cops who kill them.
Right. Yeah, well there was that one. Yeah, I heard that one the other day.
Look, I know what they're reporting and I know what probably happened. You get a female officer going to the home of 2 male officers. They were up to something. They were probably about to have an orgy. And something went wrong and somebody got shot. I don't believe they were playing Russian roulette or however the media has decided to spin it, or they decided to spin it.
I don't know what happened there, but it's probably not. They're cops. I mean, they lie. That's what they do.
They do, and they're very good at it.
Well, they get special training in lying.
Do they?
Yes. That's like police academy stuff. They teach you how to lie, and they continue that teaching as long as you're a cop.
There have been 9 line of duty deaths this year by police officers, rather,
compared to 56 innocent humans.
Yeah. So they're killing more than 6 times as many people, and most of these aren't even shot. What was the
number from last year then?
I don't know. I couldn't find
the totals. I think those are a year behind.
Struck by a vehicle. Heart attack. Heart attack.
Come on.
Only 4 of these were killed through gunfire, and one of them is that chick who was killed, a week or so ago by another cop
in the goofy sex play, whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever they were doing
that they said was Russian roulette.
Yeah, I mean, more power to them. I guess, less power to them because now somebody is dead, and that kind of sucks. But, when you see numbers like that, you can't help but be concerned that we outnumber them so considerably, and yet they killed 56 of us, and we've only killed 9 of them, because that's what it is. It is us and them. It's us versus the state. Never forget that. Never let them confuse you on that. We'll be back for the Crypto Hour here on LRN.FM, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,308. Silver opened at $15.84. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,408. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the Trump administration is closely eyeing efforts in Europe to set up an alternative money payment channel to ease doing business with Iran and avoid running afoul of sanctions the U.S. has levied on the Islamic Republic. The White House is putting the Europeans on notice, saying if they try to do an end run around U.S. sanctions on Iran, they will be subject to stiff fines and penalties. Unfazed, the European Union is marching forward with the plan, which, if implemented, could further strain transatlantic relations. A spokeswoman for EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini said preparations for the alternative system were at an advanced stage. Getting out ahead of a possible announcement, a senior administration official told the Associated Press Friday the U.S. will fully enforce its sanctions and hold individuals and entities accountable for undermining them. The official spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss the issue. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Bray Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Bray Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybraybotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. Your news now continues. The United States has announced criminal charges against China's Huawei Technologies, escalating a fight with the world's biggest telecommunications equipment maker just days before trade talks take place between Washington and Beijing. The Anti-Media reports the Justice Department charged Huawei and its chief financial officer on Monday with conspiring to violate U.S. sanctions on Iran by doing business with Tehran through a subsidiary it tried to hide, which Reuters first reported on in 2012. Huawei is the world's largest manufacturer of cellular tower electronics and the third biggest smartphone producer. In a separate case, the Justice Department said Huawei stole robotic technology from carrier T-Mobile. Huawei has said the two companies settled their disputes in 2017. Retailers will now do what no stalker could ever do. Take iris and facial images of your kids while they buy ice cream or soda. That word comes from Activist Post, citing an article in the Wall Street Journal that says Walgreens is testing a technology that embeds cameras, sensors, and digital screens in the cooler doors in its stores, a new network of smart displays that marketers can use to target ads for specific types of shoppers. The refrigerator and freezer doors act as a digital merchandising platform that depicts the food and drinks inside in their best light, but also as an in-store billboard that can serve ads to consumers who approach, based on variables such as the approximate age the technology believes they are, their gender, and the weather. The new technology could provide brick-and-mortar stores with a marketplace similar to online advertising. Cameras and sensors inside the coolers connected to face detection technology can also determine which items shoppers picked up or looked at, giving advertisers insight into whether their on-screen promotions worked, and can let a retailer know quickly if a product has gone out of stock. Speaking of privacy concerns, a recently discovered and incredibly unsettling bug in Apple's FaceTime software lets callers hear the audio from the phone they're calling before the person they're calling has a chance to accept or reject the call. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can, and it's simple. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details on how to raise your business's profile in partnership with the Liberty Beat. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting for the Liberty Beat on this Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Procter & Gamble introduced a beginner series of its Bounty paper towel brand this week, specifically designed to assist novices in acclimating to the household cleaning product. The new entry-level paper towels will reportedly feature bold labels and guide markers clearly printed on the surface of each sheet, as well as a step-by-step instructional DVD in each package.
Make sure that your paper towel is directly on top of the stain and not beside the stain. Otherwise, you won't absorb any liquid. Place your paper towel directly on the stain and make a gentle wiping motion.
In this week's local news, an area man knows that deep down, he's not done vomiting. In other news, Los Angeles residents are plagued by a roving pack of feral celebrities living in the Hollywood Hills. God wonders what happens to humans after they die, and a local dad clarifies that this is not a food stop. I was told early on that I would never be able to procreate, but I imagine the cold, dejected sensation I experience at the end of this news summary is similar to what a father feels when holding a child of his own flesh and blood.
This is the Onion News Network. The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. And you know what that music means. That music means it is time for the Crypto Hour, which is currently brought to you by nobody, but in the future is likely to be brought to you by Bean Cash. It's kind of hard to say at the moment. There's so much in the air. And that's what I was just actually posting to Patreon about. You can follow us there at patreon.com/thecalltofreedom, I believe. I'm trying to pull it up now. That there is so much hanging in the air as far as how the show goes throughout the rest of the year. Honestly, I'm very busy generally, but as I work on doing stuff like this and streamlining all of these platforms and RSS feeds and websites and things like that, and make sure that everything that should be done gets done, because so much has fallen through the cracks. And it's a matter of deep concern to me. Like, I contacted Desiree Lindsay earlier today. I was like, look, we're extending your contract until June the 1st because there have been several days that we missed it, where we missed promoting the Thin Blue Line game entirely. And I want to stop that kind of thing from happening.
Right.
Because it's not fair to them. But in the crypto news, there's some Really interesting stuff. I think a good conversation to have would be this longer article about what is money, but I'm not sure I really want to get into something.
What is money? That's a pretty deep conversation there.
Yeah, but it's a good conversation to have, I think. And
it's something people really should know. Yeah. Why don't we dig into that a little?
Sure. My definition, of course, would be that money is... Okay, yeah, I'll start with the article while I piece that together in the background of my head. From news.bitcoin.com, we have our current economic system can be compared to a merry-go-round that has us consuming, trapped in debt, and spending as quickly as we earn. Well, I don't think you're trapped in debt. I have no debt.
Yeah.
And I don't spend as quickly as I earn. I spend significantly less quickly as I earn.
Well, there are a lot of people out there who are living beyond their means and taking loans, and
there absolutely are. I mean, it's
living on their credit cards
in Mississippi, where I'm from. Like, everybody in my family does that, and when they do start to get ahead, they do exactly what South Park said. They go to Rent-A-Center, they go to errands, they get crap that they can't afford, and they end up paying $7,000 for a $600 TV because they want it then.
Yeah,
me, I would rather just wait.
They can't wait 3 weeks or whatever for their 65-inch TV, and
But I mean, these are choices. That's one of the issues I have with the minimum wage, in fact, is that people are always arguing, oh, well, we need to increase the minimum wage. The income isn't just the problem here. There are two sides to this. And the other side is that expenses are too high. And that's generally true for most people. They don't want to cut out expenses that could be cut out.
Yeah, people like to buy their $6, $7, $8 Starbucks drink every day.
They do. Well, the first ever currency is credited to King. In Lydia in 600 BCE. They said BC, but I'm going with BCE. And the first coin ever minted features a roaring lion, according to Greek historian Herodotus. Fast forward to the 21st century, and fiat money, which means money by decree of the states, is now paper money, and coins are not convertible into gold or silver, but are made legal tender by order of the government. Fiat currency is used for trade to facilitate the direct exchange of goods and services. Without money, we cannot easily acquire basic necessities such as accommodation, food, and clothing. That's certainly true. The value of a nation's currency is strongly tied to the value of its imports and exports. Well, sort of. It's more closely tied to how much of it is in circulation. So any country that exports gold or has access to gold reserves will also see an increase in the strength of its currency when gold prices rise, since this increases the value of the country's total exports. That's wrong. And here's why. If they are exporting gold, then that's less gold that they have. They may be... God, there's so much confusion here in regard to money. Okay, I have to back up. Gold is what historically... And there's nothing that makes gold any more valuable than the sheets of paper that they're importing. So, okay, I guess technically they are correct. It does increase the value of the country's total exports when the price of gold rises. Okay, so there's nothing for me to dispute there. A new medium of exchange in the form of cryptocurrencies arrived when Satoshi Nakamoto launched Bitcoin in 2009. Unlike government-issued currencies, Bitcoin has no central party responsible for controlling it. The IMF is an organization that monitors global economics and financial developments. It defines money as follows. In short, money can be anything that can serve as a store of value, which means people can save it and use it later, smoothing their purchases over time. Unit of account, that is, provide a common base for prices or medium of exchange, something that people can use to buy and sell from one another.
Sounds about right.
It does, but it's a little vague because anything can be money by that criteria. A car that you buy one day and then sell later qualifies as money that has inflated and lost value. Well, it hasn't technically inflated. It's simply lost value. But inflation is the primary cause of money losing value. But
I don't think a car would really qualify as a unit of account, though.
True.
It doesn't. You can't have 0.6 cars. Like, I mean, you could, but it would be really. The car would be really useless afterward, which means its intrinsic value would be gone. So, yeah, a car would not work very well as money.
Well, I was focusing on the first half of that. Certainly, they added unit of account in the second half. The IMF's managing director, Christine Lagarde, I don't care, acknowledges that money itself is changing as cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Dash vie for a spot in the cashless world with the promise of quicker and cheaper settlement. Well, that's certainly true in regard to Bitcoin now, but it was not true in November of 2016.
Oh, yeah, my goodness. The transaction fees were ridiculous.
Yeah, sending myself $25 in Bitcoin cost like $8 in transaction fees. It was absolutely obscene. And then
Bitcoin was pretty much unusable at that time.
Yeah, because it took like 14 hours on top of that. So not only did it cost me 33% of the actual transaction, but it took forever. Not forever, obviously, but there was one that just never processed. And 7 days later, Coinomi stopped broadcasting it and recredited it to my wallet.
Right.
But it was absurd. And I don't think the problem has actually been fixed. I think that when Bitcoin values go back up to $20,000, that issue is going to return.
Well, they haven't fixed the problem because they haven't changed the block size. It's still, 1 megabyte?
No, it's 2 megabytes now.
Oh, did Bitcoin Core actually go to 2 megabyte blocks?
I thought they did. Well, no, hold on. Yeah, they did not implement SegWit 2x. They implemented SegWit, which was a band-aid to the solution. Yeah, exactly. Facepalm indeed. I think block size definitions are ultimately the problem, and that we should let miners determine the block size by virtue of their processing power. Well, we'll be back because I want to get into that here in a minute.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for lrn.fm in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is the Crypto Hour. I would like to invite you to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you could join our Discord line and give us a call and sound like you're sitting in the studio with us. That can be found at discord.lrn.fm. Moving right along, we've been discussing money and whether or not cryptocurrencies qualify as money. And I made a remark toward the end of that segment that I didn't really get to finish, but we were actually arguing about this a bit in our Keen Cryptocurrency Telegram chat the other day, because I'm not a fan of block size definitions. They were implemented by Satoshi very early on in Bitcoin's history.
Right.
And there was a very good reason for it, to make DDoS attacks on the network prohibitively expensive.
Now, he said at the time that the block size limit was supposed to be a temporary thing and to be taken back out at some point in the future.
Did he?
He did.
I don't blame him, because what it effectively did was it gave miners a monopoly. Or ideally, you know, we would put our transactions out there, and the miners who wanted to get the transaction fees would compete with one another to process our transactions the fastest. But they would also want to produce the largest block that they can produce, because that gives them more transaction fees, right?
Right.
But they can't do that in this situation. They can only fit so many transactions in there to fit within that framework of a 1 megabyte block. Even if their processing power would allow them to do an 8 megabyte block or a 16 megabyte block in the same amount of time.
Yeah.
The end result of that is that we're putting transactions out there, and in order to get their attention, we're increasing our transaction fees. Where
huge transaction fees.
Yeah, where if there was no block size definition, they would be able to look at all of the transactions coming in, and still there would be some variance.
Still decide how many they wanted to put into the block.
Right. And it would set it more organically, more naturally. So I would like to see block definitions phased out entirely.
That would be the real Satoshi vision.
Yeah. I don't think that allowing miners to, and somebody said something like, well, miners don't actually control Bitcoin, but they do 100%. If people aren't mining it, then nothing is happening on the network. And miners know that.
The miners are pretty much, what they say pretty much goes.
Yeah, and it's why that the Bitcoin cap of 19 billion, I think it is, will be increased when we actually get to the point of reaching it. Because otherwise, that block reward is going to vanish entirely. And the miners who control the network are not going to be okay with that. Oh, so you want us to continue doing the same stuff, but suddenly make significantly less money doing it? No, we're not okay with that. Let's increase the cap on the currency, and let's just keep.
Well, you know, they've got there are a couple thousand altcoins now that they can switch to, so
that's true.
There's that part at least should sort itself out a bit.
Well, Bitcoin reached its lowest point in a while yesterday, didn't it? It hit like 3,200 or something.
34, 33, 3,200.
Well, it's sitting at 3,450 right now. I'm loving it. You know,
yeah, I've got 3,402, and on Kraken,
it is a great time to purchase cryptocurrency. All of them.
It bottomed out at 3,350.
Okay. I think Litecoin has fallen down to under $30 a few times in the past few weeks.
I don't have Litecoin on here.
I'm still holding to my prediction that if September comes around and it has not reached $500 per Bitcoin, I will admit that I was wrong. I still think that's going to happen. It may actually take longer. I don't know. And it may go a totally different direction. I don't know. I just suspect. But I think that waiting for Bitcoin to hit $500 before purchasing would be a bad decision because it could very well shoot up 6 times. It's done it before. I mean, it was that.
It's about time for it to happen again. I mean, we're at like this is near 52-week lows, so where we are now. So you know,
I mean, July of 2017, it was at like $4,000, right?
Yeah, it's a 2-year low.
And then by the end of November, it was 20,000.
Yeah, it got just shy of 20,000 in December of 2017, and then it just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, so I would certainly recommend buying with any disposable income that you have with which you want to get rid of. I phrased that very poorly. Sorry about that.
Yes, remember that if you're going to invest money in cryptocurrency, invest only what you can afford to lose because it may very well go to zero while you're not looking.
Yeah, it's not likely, but it could happen. I'm not going to say that Bitcoin will never reach zero. JP Morgan says it's going to reach zero, but we've long established that they're idiots and lunatics, and they have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to cryptocurrency.
Pretty much, but still, don't be like these idiots that invested their life savings when it was $18,000 and then lost everything.
Definitely don't be those people. And don't be those people who were talking all throughout 2017, the end of 2017, about how they missed the boat on cryptocurrency because they said that, oh, Bitcoin is $15,000. I should have bought it back when it was $5,000. And back when it was $5,000, they were saying I should have bought it when it was $500. And back when it was $500, they were saying I should have bought it when it was $50. So these same people, when it reaches $50,000, are going to be saying I should have bought it when it was $5,000. And when it reaches $500,000, they're going to be saying I should have bought it when it was $50,000. At some point, just shut up and buy it.
Shut up and bite me. You want to talk about missing the boat? I can show you my Bitcoin Core wallet right now with most of you have probably never seen the pickaxe icon that appears when you mine a block solo.
Oh, wow.
And I have, because I have solo mined 3 blocks.
Very awesome.
And you know how I missed the boat? Is I solo mined 2 of those blocks, rebooted my computer, and forgot to start it up again for 6 months.
Yeah. And by then, CPU mining was
CPU mining was very nearly dead because it was early 2011. I managed to solo mine 1 more block, but it was done for at that point. And then I switched to GPU mining and mined quite a bit more. Mined a few hundred more after that, but spent it all.
Well, I mine Ravencoin, and it's still small enough and cheap enough, and uses X16R as its algorithm, so it's possible for me to mine whole blocks. It's very rare because my graphics card is it's dying. I mean, to be totally honest. That's why I'm stuck just emulating NES games on my Twitch stream, which is twitch.tv/Aria DiMezzo, by the way.
Well, I think emulating NES games is probably a lot more interesting to watch than mining Ravencoin.
Oh, well, sure. Absolutely. It's definitely more interesting to watch. But I would also like to play games like Civilization 5, Batman Arkham City, Disgaea, and other awesome, newer, more recent games that I've historically enjoyed playing, but can't now because it will...
Stop your miner?
Well, no, it won't stop the miner. I can't mine right now either. Oh. I mean, yeah, my graphics card is dying. We'll be back here in a minute.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
The nation's quadriplegics immobilized on Washington in support of stem cell research, and a Penn State t-shirt is awkwardly looked away from. And now for the weekly feature your fragile, susceptible mind already has your lips salivating for. This is The Onion Week in Review. Sources reported today that 10-year-old Brandon Thomas, who is currently homesick at his friend Kevin's sleepover, needs to just tough it the fuck out.
I don't feel like playing Xbox right now.
The pathetic little bitch who claims he just doesn't feel like eating any birthday cake or joining in any activities with his friends, frankly needs to grow a pair because his parents only live 10 minutes away, for Christ's sake. Here's what the whiny pansy had to say for himself.
I wasn't crying. It's just allergies. I want to go home.
What a f***ing wuss. In other news, a voicemail from mom is deleted 3 words in, and a man with nice eyes is blown. All right, now off with you. I can't have you seeing me like this. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is the Crypto Hour, and we've been just kind of all over the place so far, but I think it's time to, work back into an actual story. We didn't seem to really get a lot of momentum out of the what is money question, but that's okay. I mean, that's something that's better for writing and reading anyway, something to sit and ponder on. So
yeah, something to think about while you're not listening to us chat on the radio because,
yeah, that's what we do.
That's what we're doing.
I want to click this mining icon that Bitcoin.com has listed up here.
Oh.
What is it? What is a pH?
A pH?
Yeah. I'm familiar with terahash a second.
Petahash. Okay.
Holy crap.
Yes, there is a lot of mining power in Bitcoin right now.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine that. Literally, my brain has no comprehension of how high that number actually is.
It's huge.
Because I deal in gigabytes.
It's bigger than Trump.
And maybe megahash a second.
Yeah. Gigahash maybe. But
yeah, if you've got...
Well, there are single terahash mining rigs now, like the ASIC miners.
Oh, sure.
So 1,000 of those would give you 1 petahash.
Yeah, I would be thinking about this in terms of, the average user who's got a graphics card or multiple graphics cards, attempting to mine. Because, yeah, if you were running 4 R9 390s from AMD, you could probably mine Bitcoin, not profitably, but you could get some tiny fraction of a block that was mined.
Yeah, on a pool. Well, yeah, if you've got free power, then it doesn't matter. but for most of us, like if you're living in a dorm at a university or whatever, then yeah, you can, and you're not paying for electricity, then yeah.
Well, there have actually been many college students who have done that. They were mining Vertcoin in particular. I think they got in trouble for it. I'm curious how Bitcoin.com manages to afford this if you can actually make a profit doing it.
Well, they switch between... they actually switch their pool between whichever coin they think is more profitable. So they'll be mining on Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Cash at any given time.
It's very curious to me. You pay per terahash, which nets you a certain amount of Bitcoin Cash. And they have a slider here where you can play with it and you can actually see...
Oh, the mining contracts. Right. Okay.
Yeah, you can actually see that you can, in fact, rent the terahash needed in order to generate a profit. To me, that's strange. If they have this hash rate available,
why wouldn't they run it themselves?
Yeah, and why aren't
they collect
getting
the crypto?
So they must be losing money by doing this.
That's a good question. Why would you do that?
We should get Roger Ver on and ask him. I mean, it's a great altruistic thing to do. I wish I had been there at the Pork Fest that he gave away 10 Bitcoins to anyone who installed a wallet.
Yeah, I kind of missed that one too.
Yeah. Well, Hiko Landers in the Twitch chat says that you need 20 graphics cores right now to mine 1/300% of the profit of the blockchain. I assume he's referring to Bitcoin there in our conversation
Bitcoin,
that we're
right.
having about that. That's certainly not profitable.
Yeah, I don't see how you can do it. I mean,
especially in a place like New Hampshire, which has such high electricity costs.
Yeah, I mean, I gave up on mining in 2013. It just wasn't. It wasn't working on GPU at that point. No. It wasn't profitable. So
the only way mining is going to be profitable now is if you mine a bunch of different cryptocurrencies to the extent you get 15 or 20 of them.
Yeah, you mine a whole bunch of altcoins, and if one goes up, then you make some money.
If one shoots up, then you've made it profitable. But that's the only way it's going to happen. Well, apparently cryptocurrency is providing a lucrative new revenue stream for governments, and I think that this is something that concerns us all. Cryptocurrency's resistance to government control is countered by the fact that a number of governments, including Chile, Romania, Spain, and South Africa, are looking to cash in by taxing crypto assets. They missed one in that list, didn't they? They missed this little third world country called the United States.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Where Coinbase sent me an email. Thank God I didn't use Coinbase at all throughout all of... Holy crap, I did not use Coinbase at all last year.
I have never used Coinbase.
I did because I lived in Mississippi, and there are no Bitcoin ATMs. There are no people that you can meet at localbitcoin.com to go give them some cash and they give you some Bitcoin. So Coinbase was sort of the only game in town.
Right.
And they allowed me to connect my debit card and my bank account directly to it. It was really great. And that was how I acquired most of the cryptocurrency that I ended up putting on locally stored wallets and encrypting my hard drive and then leaving the encryption key on the encrypted hard drive. And
oops.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that. Litecoin was $4 each when I purchased it. Ethereum was like $70 each when I purchased it, somewhere around there. It may have even been cheaper. And so I've got a hard drive sitting in my trunk that is encrypted with some 256 thing that I don't remember even what the program was called. And it's got my crypto wallets on there permanently inaccessible.
Yeah, you want to talk about that later? I no promises, but maybe I might be able to help a little bit with that.
Really?
Possibly.
That would be awesome. Well, I've run password cracking programs and things like that. Of course, this is not password cracking, but it's similar. And I've noticed that if they find a passcode or some combination of characters that technically works, then they will just stop, even if it doesn't actually produce anything but garbage data.
Right.
And that's frustrating.
Yeah, that you've got to have something that. If you want, I'll take a look and see what I can make of it. But.
Sure, that would be great. But my stupidity aside, so long story short, don't encrypt your hard drive and then go, I will move the encryption key off of it later. It was actually at PortFest of 2016 that this happened because I took the laptop with me, and it did not survive the trip.
Oh, the laptop didn't survive the trip?
No.
But the hard drive is still
The hard
there.
drive is fine, but the laptop itself got water damage or something. So,
Okay.
Yeah. These countries are crafting laws that bind citizens to annually disclose cryptocurrency investments that, in some cases, are held at home and abroad, and to pay anything from 10 to 35% income tax on cryptocurrency gains. What cryptocurrency gains? Everything is down.
Yeah, all we've got this year is cryptocurrency losses.
So file your taxes right now while you're looking at losses and write them off. That's what we should do every year for tax season. We should just organize the entire cryptocurrency community to do a gigantic pump and dump effectively, except we're not actually scamming anyone. We're just saying, okay, we're going to absolutely decimate demand for 3 days. We're going to drop the value of Bitcoin down to $1.
Yeah, every New Year's
That would be a
Eve.
disaster. Everybody would buy. And then we're going to let these people write off these enormous losses to the IRS. It wouldn't happen because Bitcoin hitting $1, oh my God, I would buy so much of it.
And the IRS would catch on eventually, maybe in a couple years, or a decade or two, but they'd eventually figure it out. But
yeah, and you don't have to pay your gains of cryptocurrency if you're not holding Bitcoin. If you're holding something that is more secure and less easy to trace by the IRS, which I would recommend you do, something like Zcash or Horizon. Or I think even Dash is more secure than Bitcoin. But don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. But we'll get back to that here in a moment about how the IRS and other world governments are attempting to take people's money from them because that's what the state does.
That's what governments do.
So stay tuned for that. We'll be back here in just a few minutes on LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
All right, hold on.
Has to start somewhere. It has to start sometime. What better place than here? What better time than now?
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Joined, of course, in the studio today by Michael Hepton, who I just found out has an awesome news aggregate site called BitcoinHistory.com.
Yep, that's mine.
I'm super impressed with it. It's really awesome. No more, trawling through the depths of the internet in order to find
crypto news.
Yeah, I wish I had known about this like 6 months ago. Really.
Well, I didn't actually have it 6 months ago, but it's been running a couple months now, just picking up news and if you actually get down to the bottom of a page, it shows you all the blocks that have been mined that day. So there eventually will be a block explorer on there, But for right now, it just goes to blockchain.info. And yeah, it was one of those things that I put together just because I wanted it, and I had the domain. I wasn't doing anything with it. I bought that domain years and years ago, and just never. Someone was going to buy it from me, but they never coughed up the Bitcoin for it, and then.
Well, that's unfortunate. Well, we have a caller on the line, but before we go to him, I want to remind you that our podcasts have moved. They can now be found at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. That's PODBEAN, like bean. I don't know why they call themselves Podbean, but I think they're one of the most popular podcasting platforms out there, so they're not hard to find. We're also now on Google Play, so search your Google Music app for Call to Freedom, and that should take you directly to us.
That's nice.
Yeah, so that's all good stuff. So go check that out. Again, that's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. And we're joined now via telephone by Rev, coming to us from Florida. I'm sure the audience out there remembers Rev. Rev, how are you doing today?
Yeah, fine. And your audience is doing fine till I called in. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, they seem to be having a pretty good day over on Twitch. So,
are they talking? I don't think they're still talking about me. They were talking about me that night. Hey, I make it interesting, as abrasive as I am. So today, I didn't want to be too abrasive, but enough of this crypto stuff. So,
it is the crypto hour. I mean,
yeah, whatever.
And historically, it is also how we pay the bills.
Oh, I thought you said autist for a second. You had me, you were relating to me for a second. You lost me, hon. Anyway, no, so real quick, yeah, okay. You know what? I will say something with Bitcoin. You know what? You got me into it now. So, I don't know. For the last few months, this stuff has been on a serious decline. And, I don't want to just be like a lot of the normies and give up on it completely, but none of us can say for sure, but how low do you think this thing is going to go?
I think it's going to hit $500.
Ooh.
I do.
Oh, it was $20K a year and a half ago.
I know, right?
Well, I mean, it's
how far? Think about that. It was $20K a year and a half ago, and here you have the opportunity to purchase it at significantly discounted rates.
I was just reading I was just reading an article that was linked from the Bitcoin history site we just mentioned that some analysts think it's going to get back up to 25K eventually.
I think inevitably it will.
Inevitably it will. It's just how far down is it going to go before it stops? Every time I think we've hit bottom here, it drops a little bit again, and then it stops, and then it goes back up a little bit, and then it drops. It's been going between 3,500 and 4,000 for the last month.
Yeah, we do seem to have
I'm about ready for it to
economic equilibrium.
Yeah, I'm about ready for this to be over.
But has it been that significant of a drop? I'm not as educated on it as you guys. Has it ever, taken that much of a nosedive?
Oh, yes.
What?
Oh, yes.
The nosedive is still going. I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a very long time for Bitcoin to go down from $20,000 to $3,400 or whatever it is right now, but that's still part of the nosedive.
Oh, I remember when everyone was going crazy because Bitcoin maxed out at about $30 and dropped down to $1.
Okay,
so yeah, and Bitcoin was dead. Bitcoin was dead. If you Google Bitcoin obituary, then there's a site out there that actually tracks how many news articles there are calling Bitcoin dead.
Right.
And it just keeps going.
So Bitcoin's like a battered wife. Don't quite leave her or throw her to the curb yet, as the MRA guys would say. Whatever, that's terrible. All right, so
that was pretty bad.
Let's get into something a little more interesting here, Goyles. How about, remember when I called in a week ago and we were talking about anarchy?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought of something else that might interest your nice kosher audience here. Actually, Aria, this would be of particular interest to you. I'm not sure about the gentleman there. I think Will would find this interesting, too. Anyway, have you guys heard of anarcho-nationalism?
That doesn't even make sense.
I knew you'd say that.
That's a contradiction in terms like libertarian republic.
No, not necessarily.
No, necessarily.
No, I'll tell you why.
Anarchism, by definition, is without rulers, as we discussed.
So where are you going to get what's a nation in this context, though?
Okay, good question, sir. So it could be something religious, like the Nation of Islam, right? It could be something racial, but now it depends on the definition of anarchy too, Arya, because you say without rulers, which is the classical definition, but the more pragmatic
it's also the
definition
correct
is
definition.
And the more practical definition is also without centralized authority. So by that logic, if we belong to a nation
That's
something,
incorrect. That's incorrect, though. That implies that a business CEO cannot exist in an anarchist society, and that's correct. The difference between a leader or a person in charge and a ruler is a substantial one that has to be included. And it's the anarcho-communists and anarcho-socialists, contradictions that is, who lose sight of that.
Okay, I would agree with you on that. So I should have said no centralized state authority, right? Because you could have an ANCAP society and have all kinds of monarchs or owners or whatever, which I'm pretty for that.
Well, you
but
couldn't have monarchs, no.
No.
Yeah, you're right. You could not have monarchs and have anarchy. It's even debatable how much minarchy you would have at that point. Probably not very much. But
well, you can't have monarchy either. You can't have any archy but anarchy for it to be anarchy. That's what the "and" means, is without.
Without, absent, gone.
So
none.
if you've got another
Not
archy in there, excluding hierarchy, which is actually a different classification entirely.
Right. Yeah, that's nature. Hierarchy's nature, yeah.
Yeah, you can't have monarchy. You can't, or any of these types of governments that end with archy.
Well, if we have a few more minutes, I'd like to, real quick, what is your source then? Because I need to do more research too. Like, does this go back, predate Greece, or what is the source of this whole etymology of anarchy that I could look to?
Well, that is a Greek word with a Greek prefix, so that would be the place to start.
Yeah, anarchos is technically the Greek word. ANARKHOS is the origin of the word. And from there, it was Latinized into anarchy, or Romanized into anarchy, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Romanized, yeah, well, Rome is still there, Latin isn't, so...
I find parts of etymology fascinating, like when I learned that the plural of dwarf is actually dwero and not dwarfs.
What?
Yeah. Like, parts of it are really fascinating, but as far as the history of the ideas or the evolutions of the words themselves, I really don't think it's of much relevance how anarchy has historically been defined versus the vision that I'm outlining when I talk about anarchy,
Yeah, I think your dwarf fetish is bleeding over into your work world, hon. No, so let me... Can I tell you real quick about an interesting, what some would call an anarcho-nationalist that I've started to... Well, I'm not read. Listen, I would read it if it was still in print. But if we have a little bit more time, can I tell you a little bit about this controversial book that could be considered anarcho-nationalist?
Well, we have about 50 seconds, so we can hold that off until we get back from the break.
All right. Just hold me then.
And it is a long break. I'm not going to hold you, Rev.
All right, fine. I'll keep talking. Just tell me when to shut up. So in certain far-right circles, there is this book called Siege, which is pretty infamous. I think that Penguin guy, he's been getting a lot better with his calls. I think he might be familiar with this too, even though he's not a right-winger by any means. But anyway, so Siege was a book written by James Mason. I'll have to explain this when we get back from the break. But
yeah, we'll be back here on the Call to Freedom. Okay. We're going to get into the history of anarchy and anarcho-capitalism. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for that on LRN.FM.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,308. Silver opened at $15.84, and Bitcoin is trading around $3,408. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the Trump administration is closely eyeing efforts in Europe to set up an alternative money payment channel to ease doing business with Iran and avoid running afoul of sanctions the U.S. has levied on the Islamic Republic. The White House is putting the Europeans on notice, saying if they try to do an end run around U.S. sanctions on Iran, they will be subject to stiff fines and penalties. Unfazed, the European Union is marching forward with the plan, which, if implemented, could further strain transatlantic relations. A spokeswoman for EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini said preparations for the alternative system were at an advanced stage. Getting out ahead of a possible announcement, a senior administration official told the Associated Press Friday the U.S. will fully enforce its sanctions and hold individuals and entities accountable for undermining them. The official spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss the issue. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Bray Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Bray Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybraybotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. Your news now continues. The United States has announced criminal charges against China's Huawei Technologies, escalating a fight with the world's biggest telecommunications equipment maker just days before trade talks take place between Washington and Beijing. The Anti-Media reports the Justice Department charged Huawei and its chief financial officer on Monday with conspiring to violate U.S. sanctions on Iran by doing business with Tehran through a subsidiary it tried to hide, which Reuters first reported on in 2012. Huawei is the world's largest manufacturer of cellular tower electronics and the third biggest smartphone producer. In a separate case, the Justice Department said Huawei stole robotic technology from carrier T-Mobile. Huawei has said the two companies settled their disputes in 2017. Retailers will now do what no stalker could ever do: take iris and facial images of your kids while they buy ice cream or soda. That word comes from Activist Post, citing an article in the Wall Street Journal that says Walgreens is testing a technology that embeds cameras, sensors, and digital screens in the cooler doors in its stores, a new network of smart displays that marketers can use to target ads for specific types of shoppers. The refrigerator and freezer doors act as a digital merchandising platform that depicts the food and drinks inside in their best light, but also as an in-store billboard that can serve ads to consumers who approach, based on variables such as the approximate age the technology believes they are, their gender, and the weather. The new technology could provide brick-and-mortar stores with a marketplace similar to online advertising. Cameras and sensors inside the coolers connected to face detection technology can also determine which items shoppers picked up or looked at, giving advertisers insight into whether their on-screen promotions worked, and can let a retailer know quickly if a product has gone out of stock. Speaking of privacy concerns, a recently discovered and incredibly unsettling bug in Apple's FaceTime software lets callers hear the audio from the phone they're calling before the person they're calling has a chance to accept or reject the call. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can, and it's simple. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details on how to raise your business's profile in partnership with the Liberty Beat. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting for the Liberty Beat on this Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Tensions in Washington, D.C. reached a new high yesterday as several dozen members of Congress took a class of visiting school children hostage, barricaded themselves inside the Capitol Rotunda, and demanded $12 trillion in cash. The children were rounded up at gunpoint, whereupon the House Speaker informed negotiators that one child would die every hour unless their demands were met. Here now, a brief video one of the students was able to send out from inside the Capitol.
Nobody move, you're all gonna die! This kid's got a phone.
Historians across the country politely reminded Americans this week to quickly check and see what has happened in the past before making any big decisions.
Just take any book with history in it and then quickly skim through it to see what decisions in the past turned out to be bad. And then once you've pinpointed them, simply don't make those same decisions again. Because if a bad thing happened again, you see, that would be very bad indeed, wouldn't it?
This is the Onion News Network.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
And that feeds you. Will you stay down on your knees? Will you bite the hand that feeds you? Will you stay down on your knees? Will you bite the hand that feeds you? Will you stay down on your knees? Will you bite the hand?
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We ended the last segment with a discussion about anarchism, and in particular, a strange little hybrid of anarchism and nationalism, actually referred to as national anarchism. I took the opportunity to look it up, and it is described on Wikipedia as a radical anti-capitalist, anti-Marxist, and anti-statist ideology.
What?
Yeah. National anarchists advocate a post-capitalist, stateless society in which communities of different ethnic or racial groups would be free to develop separately in their own autonomous tribal communes. These national autonomous zones would be directly democratic, mutualistic, and self-sufficient. Who is going to make them be directly democratic, mutualistic, and self-sufficient?
Yeah, that's the sticky point, because, getting 150 people to all do the same thing is pretty tricky.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. Mutualism, it doesn't work. I mean, it does when there is proper selfishness in the equation, which is why capitalism, what we refer to as capitalism, not what Marx called capitalism, but the free market works because it requires you to serve your neighbor in order to be served yourself. That's why capitalism works. When you erase that out of some crazy interpretation of Marxist ideology, or I can't imagine how they become both anti-capitalist and anti-Marxist at the same time.
Yeah, how do you do that? That just, you know, I was saying
That's
the
like
other
your
day
fourth
that
face palm today.
humans, yeah. Well, you know, that's my thing is I just face palm all the time because there's so much crap. But I was saying the other day about humans are uniquely capable of holding two contradictory beliefs at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's religion that ultimately taught us how to do that. What amazed me was when Mitt Romney was running for president, and he was able to tell people with a straight face that he was the CEO of Bain Capital from 1999 to 2001, but he was not the CEO of Bain Capital from 1999 to 2001.
So what was he? And who was the CEO?
He was the CEO on the books and in practice. But he just said, but I also was not the CEO, and people bought it. It was direct cognitive dissonance, and Americans thrive on that, increasingly so.
No other country does, huh?
I don't know whether or not other countries do. I'm an American. My worldview.
Hey,
you can be an American all you want. I'm a human.
Well, fair enough, yeah. But my experience with the world and with how people behave is generally limited to how other people who are called Americans behave.
I am American because of geography, but I can't say that on the radio. Let's just say if this tyrannical union were to fall, I'd be popping champagne. So real quick, you said that mutualism... Oh, okay, we agree on that. So you said
mutualism is a Stirner idea, isn't it? Now, to be clear, I've never read Stirner. In fact, I've avoided him through the last 2 years because I'm working on a book that I'm told by people who have read Stirner that it sounds like Stirner's ideas. So I want to avoid him until I finished what I'm writing so that nobody says, oh, this is just derivative of Stirner. But is mutualism not a Stirner idea? I'm sure somebody listening on Discord knows.
Yeah, if someone else knows, pipe in. When you would say mutualism, I don't know the actual political theory behind that. I don't know who this guy is or that there was one. But when you dismiss mutualism
hold on, let me ask a question. What is the difference between communism, like actual pure communism, not state socialism? What would be the difference between mutualism and communism?
The difference is that mutualism, at least I don't know the political term, but it just the term outside of that I'm familiar with is basically groups or individuals mutually cooperating together, which in any system of anything you have to some degree. So mutualism can be a very practical thing. Like if we're part of a certain religion or a certain race or a certain ethnicity or whatever, and we decide, hey, listen, these other groups, they are antithetical to our interests. So even though we may have differences, we need to work together to break away from this and do our own thing. Now, it's all kind of a pipe dream, anarchy, libertarianism, all this stuff. It's like, it's nice in theory, but it's kind of like practical autism, where, of course, you would disagree. But all I'm saying real quick with Siege and James Mason, if I could cap that off, and then you guys, feel free, of course, it's your show. But so real quick, the idea of Siege is that I would describe James Mason, at least back in the days when he wrote that, like when I was born in the late 80s, as a definite anarcho-nationalist. And the reason is because he advocates, he's a white nationalist, and he has a very strong sense of hatred towards the federal government, which is very similar to Atomwaffen, who were even working with Antifa for a little while, or trying to, which is really interesting. But anyway,
now, hold on.
So basically,
that's the group that you told me I needed to join or something like that, right?
Antifa?
Yeah, that's the group that I drew all of you guys as. That you'll be getting that in the mail soon. Ian will love that.
Oh, you mailed that?
No.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, I did see one of those, I think.
Yeah, I posted it to Facebook, the one of me. How come, now that we have you on the phone, how come I have no boobs in that drawing?
Because I don't see. We're not allowed to talk too much about your anatomy. You're on some little radio stations, but you're not a busty woman. I mean, I'm not trying to insult you. I try to do it as.
But I mean, there were
what do you
none.
want me to do?
It's not like they were small. There were none in the drawing.
Yeah, I don't know
right.
what your size is. I don't see much. No offense.
It just seemed like a really glaring omission to me. Because I do have them. I mean, they're not enormous or anything, but they are there.
That is true. They are smaller than average, but they're there.
First of all, he's committing patriarchy. He needs to be thrown into the wood chipper, according to the SJWs. And what was that guy's name that Cantwell had the fight with? I forget his freaking name. Andrew. It wasn't Adam. It was some other guy that turned ANCOM scumbag. Anyway.
I'm an ANCOM who turned ANCAP. So, I mean, it goes in the other way in the other direction as well.
But you were too bright to probably stick around in ANCOMism for very long because it's completely impractical.
I did, and that was the issue I ran into it when in the Zeitgeist Moving Forward documentary, where they said something to the effect of, people don't actually want to own a boat. They just want to have the privilege of being able to use a boat. And being from Mississippi, I knew just about everybody who owned a boat. None of them ever used them. I was like, well, I know for a fact that this is not true. I have guitars and stuff that I have no interest in actually playing, but I'll be damned if I'm going to give them up because they're mine.
Right.
It's not about the usage at all. It's about the property.
By the way, I love how your butt hurt that I didn't draw your breast size correctly, but me putting fake Hitler tattoos and swastikas and SS Waffen symbols is fine. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. Ari obviously is not a fan of that stuff. Too bad. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, the thing real quick with James Mason and Siege, it's a big meme in the alt-right and the far-right is like, you even Siege, brah? It's really funny, but it's a really amazing literary work. And so basically, real quick, Mason doesn't tell you to go out and, blow up synagogues, blow up federal buildings or whatever, but he also tells you not to condemn it. He says that this kind of stuff, once it reaches peak level and like thousands of people are doing it or whatever, it'll finally bring about the collapse. Now, this was, 30, 40 years ago. I don't think he anticipated the country getting so morbidly obese, lazy, and digitally tracked. But anyway, it's just interesting because it's one of the only cases of anarcho-nationalism I could find, which, depending on how you define a nation, is not a contradiction in terms. So I thought you'd have fun with that.
Yeah, I will look into it because I'm ignorant on the subject of national anarchism. I'm not a fan of mutualism or any form of communism or communal property and things of that because I think they're counterproductive. I think that they destroy the human being's innate desire and need to amass wealth. Well, we'll be back here on the Call to Freedom. We're going to move along into something else.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Join Daryl W. Perry on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio as he brings you news, views, and opinions while promoting the ideas of peaceful interaction.
My personal position on the death penalty is this. We know for a fact that there have been hundreds of people who have been wrongly convicted for various offenses. People who were wrongly convicted of murder and who were sentenced to death, who have later been exonerated. And from that, we can deduce that there have been innocent people who were executed for crimes they did not commit. And the fact that I do consider myself to be consistently pro-life, I don't support using taxpayer funds to kill any human at all, anywhere. Using any money that is taken by force and then used to murder people is wrong.
Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
Obey your master.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. That is actually not the song that I intended to play when we came back from break, because this is what we played when we went out to break, but I'm bad at my job, so that's
it's perfectly fine by me.
I've actually sent Ian all of the music beds, so they will be preloaded in the near future within the next month or so that we don't have to actually manually do that anymore. I'm very much looking forward to that. It's going to be great. But moving on to the news, the ABC News has reported that the FBI, absolute waste of humanity that it is, finds no specific motive in the Vegas shooting.
What? No specific motive. This was the guy that shot into the country music festival from the hotel room, right?
Correct. A high-stakes gambler who rained a hail of gunfire down on a crowd of country music fans, killing 58. Took any specific motive for the 2017 attack to his grave, the FBI said Tuesday as it concluded the investigation into the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. The agency found no single or clear motivating factor to explain why Stephen Paddock opened fire from his suite in a high-rise casino hotel. The 64-year-old, who acted alone, fatally shot himself as police closed in. It wasn't about MGM Mandalay Bay or a specific casino or venue, the agent in charge of the office told the AP. It was all about doing the maximum amount of damage and him obtaining some form of infamy.
I don't get it.
Yeah, why was he wanting to do the maximum amount of damage?
Come on, have they not figured out who this guy is, what his mental state might have been? Usually, you have a shooter like this, It's obvious what's going on. You start digging into his life. You see things. They're like little red flags, like this guy was bullied at school, or he was suicidal, or he was off his meds, or whatever.
Absolutely. It's certainly strange that the FBI would take more than a year of looking into this and studying the guy's background and life, and they'd be able to, and we don't know.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I actually don't buy it.
Paddock wanted to die in infamy, inspired in part by his father's reputation as a bank robber who was once on the FBI's most wanted list, the report said. In many ways, he was similar to other active shooters the FBI has studied, motivated by a complex merging of development issues, stress, and interpersonal relationships. His decision to murder people while they were being entertained was consistent with his personality. So, I mean, I guess there was some of that bullying issues and stuff like that you talked about. They didn't specify that, but development issues.
Let's read between the lines here, right?
Generally going to be bullying or bad parenting, things along those lines.
Well, what did they say? His father was a bank robber that was on the FBI's most wanted list?
They did.
Is that what I read?
They did say that. That is news to me, but I have not followed it since it happened.
Yeah, well, that's is definitely not your best possible role model there.
What has always concerned me about it, though, is that I have friends who live in Vegas because I lived in Vegas temporarily, and some of them were actually on the Strip when this happened. And they did, in fact, report other shooters being in one gift shop in particular and another one somewhere else. Now, I don't know how full of crap they are, but people who I know who live in Las Vegas did indeed say that there were other shooters. A lot of people said there were not. So
well, I don't know.
What are you going to do?
Were they just hearing echoes, maybe?
They very well could have been. One person, one of my exes, actually. So, I mean, she is a psychopath, so God only knows if she's making crap up. She says she actually saw a gunman in one of the gift shops. So,
I never heard that reported anywhere.
No, people like attention, I think is what it was. But who knows? His younger brother, Eric Paddock, called him the king of microaggression. Narcissistic.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
The king of microaggression.
Microaggression is not a real thing. I know that. Narcissistic, detailed-oriented, and maybe bored enough with life to plan an attack that would make him famous. His ex-wife told investigators that he grew up with a single mom in a financially unstable home, and he felt a need to be self-reliant. Police characterized him as a loner with no religious or political affiliations who began stockpiling weapons about a year before the attack. He spent more than $1.5 million in the 2 years before the shooting and distanced himself from his girlfriend and family.
Wow. $1.5 million?
Yeah.
Where did he get that kind of money?
From owning a real estate company or something like that.
Okay,
so I mean, he was a self-made dude.
This guy owns his own business, has $1.5 million to burn on his hobby, whatever, and he decides to buy guns. That's nothing's wrong with that in the first place, but
it is strange to buy those guns for the purpose of shooting into a crowd of people.
Yeah,
that's certainly strange.
That's where things are kind of going off the rails with this guy. I don't see why he would.
No, it doesn't make sense.
I mean, it sounds like he kind of more or less got over his whatever childhood and was making a life for himself.
It does.
So,
I mean, to come from that kind of environment and to find yourself, living in a high-rise hotel on the Strip, you did pretty well, dude.
Yeah, you're not doing too bad.
I don't see why somebody would throw that all away.
So yeah, I don't see depression or suicidal. Maybe there was, but
I mean, there certainly could have been. But generally, people who go through crap like that and who overcome it don't deal with depression in that sense. But he was on some sort of antidepressant. That came out like right after the shooting.
Okay. So yeah, did he go off his meds and just snap or?
Well, the going theory, among the tinfoil hat people, is that it was going on the meds that caused this to happen. Apparently, there have been a lot of these mass shootings linked directly to one of these chemical imbalance fixing substances.
Oh,
I don't know if it's true or not.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it's certainly something I think I would want to look into.
Yeah.
Especially before I gave any of that to my kids.
He sent his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, to visit her family in the Philippines 2 weeks before the attack and wired her $150,000 while she was there.
Nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, it characterizes him as having relationship troubles. I honestly don't see what they're referring to. It sounds like he had a happy girlfriend who he was, pretty much supporting, or he had plenty of money to spend on her.
Yeah, I don't see relationship trouble there. Maybe there's something else, but that doesn't say relationship trouble to me.
No, and here, let me send you and your family to the Philippines. Oh, and here's $150,000. That doesn't sound like an unhealthy relationship. Maybe it could be. Well, if you have thoughts, give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. We'll be back in just a few.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your AMP will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting as always from the Liberty Radio Network here in Keene, New Hampshire. And I wanted to mention one more time that our Podbean, our podcast, which has for so long been located at Spreaker, has actually moved and can now be found at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. Again, that's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. So go check those out if you would like. And we've been discussing the Vegas shooter and the BS, really, that it seems that so...
Yeah, this FBI report that just came out, it seems a little light on detail.
It does.
Maybe it's just the particular story because I haven't seen the actual report, but...
Well, Dan Lee, a former casino worker in Reno, returned to the U.S. after the shooting and told authorities that Paddock had complained that he was sick, and that doctors told him he had a chemical imbalance and could not cure him. Danley, who is Catholic, told investigators that Paddock often told her, "Your God doesn't love me."
Your God doesn't love me?
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say.
What? That is weird. Okay, so if this guy
It does sound like he was struggling with depression.
Maybe this guy did have a chemical imbalance and was either on his meds or off his meds when he did this. So I don't know.
A Reno car salesman told police that in the months before the shooting, Paddock told him he was depressed and had relationship troubles.
Okay, well, if he said he had relationship troubles, we were talking about that last segment that it didn't sound like he had relationship troubles, but if he's saying he did, then maybe he did.
I would like to know more about this Reno car salesman, because I don't tell random people, that I'm depressed and have relationship troubles.
I don't. Do you have a therapist then?
I don't to either of those. No. Or to any of those three. But if I did, I certainly wouldn't tell the guy I was buying a car from.
Yeah. That it's a little odd to go and just tell randos on the street that you're depressed.
I mean, I would assume that this car salesman was a friend of his.
Right.
In which case it would have been far more
That would make a lot more sense.
To refer to him as a friend of Paddock's, told police.
Who was a car salesman.
Yeah. Paddock's doctor offered him antidepressants, but told investigators that Paddock would only accept a prescription for anxiety medication. Okay, so he was not on antidepressants, apparently.
Uh-oh.
Paddock's gambling habits made him a sought-after casino patron. Mandalay Bay employees readily let him use a service elevator to take multiple suitcases to the $590 per night suite he had been provided for free.
Yeah, if you're a high roller, then they will give you lots of free stuff.
Yeah. Authorities said he asked for the room, which had a commanding view of the Strip and the Route 91 Harvest Festival concert grounds across the street. The night of the massacre, Paddock used assault-style rifles to fire more than 1,000 rounds in 11 minutes into the crowd of 22,000 music fans. I did not realize that there were that many people at that festival.
Yeah, that's quite a few people. So he fired 1,000 rounds in 11 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a super quick rate of fire. I mean, you could just about achieve that with a pump-loaded shotgun.
Yeah.
If you were quick enough and experienced enough.
On your own,
yeah.
Right.
The most horrible thing about the Vegas shooting for me has always been the fact that they were walled in with no immediate exits available, and they were trapped there. It was a literal killing field.
Right.
It's absolutely horrific. And I don't believe in hell, but I hope that Paddock is there for inflicting that on these people.
I will buy that.
Las Vegas police closed their investigation last August, and Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo declared the police work complete after hundreds of interviews and thousands of hours of investigative work. Lombardo vowed to never speak Paddock's name again in public. Is that it? Is that all?
Is that
we're
the
gonna
whole
be told
story?
about it?
Is that everything?
Pretty much. I mean, it goes on a little bit, but it doesn't give us anything of substance.
Is this just going to be one of the
great unsolved mysteries of our time, apparently? A separate report made public in August involving the FEMA found that communications were snarled during and after the shooting. It said police, fire, and medical responders were overwhelmed by 911 calls, false reports of other shootings at Las Vegas casinos, and the number of victims. Okay, so that could be the genesis of the whole I was there and saw other shooters thing, because we know people like the limelight, and I was there and saw them. It's a much better story than, oh, well, I saw it on the news.
Yeah.
And it's more believable for somebody who was not in Vegas at the time, but who knew people who were in Vegas at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Hotel security video and police body cam recordings made public in a public records lawsuit showed police using explosives to blast through the door of the 32nd floor hotel suite where Paddock was found dead. He left behind nothing that offered an explanation on any of his laptops.
Oh, really?
He acted alone. He committed a heinous act. He died by his own hand, Rouse said. If he wanted to leave a message, he would have left a message. Bottom line is he didn't want people to know. I find it extremely hard to believe that in today's super surveyed society, you could commit a mass shooting like this. You could be that wealthy and commit a horrific crime like this and leave the FBI going, gosh, we don't know why he did it.
I don't know. I guess it's possible. I mean, you could have somebody that just doesn't talk to anybody about what they're planning, and on that note, a lot of these shooters will just give off all kinds of red flags before they go off. Like they'll go
your
out
God
and say,
doesn't love me was certainly qualified.
No. They will literally say things like they're going to go and shoot somebody.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a red flag.
that's a red flag, and so they can put those together a little more quickly. But this guy apparently never did anything like that. Never gave off. I mean, he gave off obvious hints that he was depressed and having that kind of trouble, but nothing to indicate he was going to go on a shooting spree.
Yeah, it's tragic that a human being can become that depressed and that forlorn in the first place, where they're just like, my life sucks. I'm depressed. I might as well kill some people. Something does break in people's heads, though. It's tragic. I wish it wouldn't happen. I don't think that, chemicals are the solution. I'm not going to say that they're not the solution either.
I don't know what the solution is to that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. So I would have to defer to people who know more about that.
I think society as a whole is sick, and that's why we're seeing things like this.
That I will agree with.
But how do we address that sickness that runs throughout the veins of society? I don't know. Well, you our
can't
message
kill
is one
them,
of
so-
peace and love and forgiveness. I think, realistically, if there was more of that, then there would be fewer shootings throughout the world. But I don't think that the message of peace, love, and liberty actually directly counters that sort of breaking in a person's head.
No,
he had a girlfriend, so he had someone who loved him in his life.
He did, and that obviously wasn't enough.
True. But so what would have been enough?
I don't know.
I mean, that's not a question anybody is qualified to answer, but it raises an important point. Depression comes out of nowhere. I had a really good friend who killed herself like 6 or 7 months ago. Out of the blue. Nobody knew this chick was depressed. And then suddenly her Facebook wall is filled with people saying, why did you do it? We're going to miss you forever.
Why?
And other people become depressed, money issues. And other people become depressed and they go on shooting sprees. I think that we as a society need to learn more healthy ways to project our emotions and to deal with them than killing. Well, we'll be back here in just a few minutes.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे.
Let's focus our discussion first on marijuana, okay? Marijuana has a very distinct smell, okay? I'm going to pass around just a little tiny bit, and I want you all to take a smell so you know when someone is smoking marijuana near you.
Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is time for the Cannabis Hour, brought to you by no one in particular yet, but we are seeking out sponsors for the cannabis segment. In the meantime, I would like to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters who are currently keeping the podcast going at Call to Freedom, calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. That would be, I just had it right in front of me, but I'm an idiot and doing multiple things simultaneously, so I obviously clicked away from what I needed to actually be looking at. That would be David Jeffries and Jonathan Dunker. Huge shout out to both of them for effectively covering the cost of hosting our podcast at podbean.com. So very cool of them. They have directly made that possible. If you would like to join into that program, you can check it out at patreon.com/calltofreedom. I wish I had put Call to Freedom Live now that we're sort of streamlining things, but I didn't. So,
well, you know, it's
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? And, you know, it's not that hard to, you just get on your phone right now and go to patreon.com/calltofreedom and, you know, you'll be right there. Yep. So do it now while you're thinking about it, while we're talking about it. Don't wait till next hour. You'll forget.
Excellent point. But in the cannabis news, Baltimore will no longer prosecute cannabis possession cases.
Where's our applause sound effect?
Oh, that's a good idea. I will have to keep one queued up in the future. Let me make a note of that, actually. The state's attorney in Baltimore says her office will no longer prosecute any marijuana possession cases, regardless of the quantity of the drug or an individual's prior criminal record. So if they find you with like 25 pounds of pot?
Yeah, so just possession? Well, they'll still take the pot, but I guess you won't get formal charges.
Okay, they won't prosecute you.
Right.
But they will take the pot. Well, that sucks. I mean, it's still good that you won't get charged with having 25 pounds of pot.
Well, the cops are still going to take the pot because it's not legal in Maryland yet.
Yeah, this bitch threw down. Oh, my God. Marilyn Mosby says cannabis possession cases have no public safety value, waste money, and disproportionately impact communities of color.
There you go.
She says no one who is serious about public safety can honestly say that spending resources to jail people for marijuana use is a smart way to use our limited time and money.
That's because it's not. Never has been, never will be.
I wish instead of writing down to find an applause sound effect, I had actually just Googled one. That's worthy of one.
Yeah, we'll have to have that ready.
Well, Mosby says her office will still go after dealers and traffickers by prosecuting marijuana distribution cases.
Okay, so 25 pounds might still get you
because you're pretty clearly selling pot at that point.
25 pounds, that's personal use. I can smoke all of that in a weekend, right?
Not if you want to survive the weekend. I don't know. I'm told you can't overdose on cannabis, but I think 25 pounds would probably do it.
I never could overdose on cannabis. At a certain point, I would just end up on the floor, unable to do anything. So
she says her office is seeking to vacate some 5,000 prior marijuana possession convictions dating to 2011. She says jailing people for marijuana possession is an ongoing moral failure. I would agree. Olivia Noggle, legislative director for the Marijuana Policy Project Advocacy Group, applauded the decision. Decades of arresting and prosecuting people for marijuana possession did not make Baltimore any safer, and it had a dramatically disproportionate impact on communities of color.
Yeah, and Baltimore's been going downhill for quite a while, so this is a good way to start turning the city around.
Why is what she's saying almost identical to what the Attorney General said, though?
Because they're running on the same script.
I mean, yeah, clearly they are.
It's a leftist script. And they're not wrong. It's just a leftist script.
Yeah, I mean, it's the exact same phrasing. Disproportionate impact
on people of color.
And Mosby says it has no public safety value, waste money, and disproportionately impact communities of color. I mean, it's not even the same script. It's directly plagiarized. Well, that would technically be the same script.
It could be, it could have been just word for word. They're reading off a press release.
But this is the state's attorney saying one thing and an advocacy group
I bet you if you
saying
look her up,
exactly
the
the
state's
same
attorney
thing.
is a Democrat, and the Marijuana Policy Project is kind of leftish themselves. They're a single issue organization, but it's full of leftists.
Okay. Well, I was not aware of that.
I mean, you've got some libertarians in there, like Matt Simon, whoever, but for the most part, it is a leftist organization. If you ask those people, that's what they'll tell you.
Well, she goes on to add that countless individuals have been branded with convictions and subjected to life-altering collateral consequences that cause far more harm than marijuana ever could. Unfortunately, this has continued to be the case in Baltimore, even after decriminalization in 2014. Now, I'm not sure about the status of Baltimore, but is that the same kind of decriminalization that we have here in Keene?
Yeah, well, that's the kind of decriminalization where instead of like arresting you and putting you in jail for 6 months, they give you a $100 fine or something. That's decrim.
So instead of becoming money pits, they managed to turn marijuana into a money source.
Right.
Without legalizing
But
it.
the thing is, if you don't pay the fine, you still go to jail.
Naturally, yeah.
If you can't pay the fine, you go to jail.
Gotta love that government, man.
That's how they do it.
And the only reason they're legalizing it is because they're taxing it to the extreme, to the 25, 30% marks.
Yeah, in California, they're even just, the politicians have gone so far, they're just totally wrecking everything.
So the whole thing is just, I mean, if you sit back and look at it, it seems that marijuana outlawing was always about control and the fact that the plant grew everywhere.
Everything the government does is about control. But yeah, prohibition was about control. It was about, there was alcohol prohibition, and marijuana taxing and prohibition kind of came out around the same time as alcohol prohibition was in effect. So, but it never got repealed because it wasn't in the constitutional amendment like alcohol was.
Right. Yeah, because they just did it.
And it wasn't doing as much obvious damage.
Well, to white people.
To white people, right.
Naugle also encouraged the rest of the state to follow Mosby's lead. The General Assembly can and should put a stop to marijuana possession arrests and their harmful fallout by ending marijuana prohibition once and for all. The sooner lawmakers act, the sooner these needless possession arrests will come to an end, not just in Baltimore, but across the state. Baltimore is in Maryland, correct?
It is in Maryland.
Is pot not legal in Maryland?
Apparently not.
It's weird that we have all of these states here in the Northeast that are like within rock throwing distance of each other, and they can't agree on medical cannabis. You would think, or any sort of cannabis, you would think that would be a sort of a necessary prerequisite. Like, oh, it's totally legal 16 feet away.
Well, that's how it's arbitrary lines on the ground that the people over there with guns say that they control this little bit of territory, and this other gang of people with guns control this little bit of territory, and they both mutually agreed that they'll go up to this line and no further because they don't want to waste their bullets shooting each other. So,
yeah, because then they have less bullets to use shooting us.
Right.
56 so far in the month of January shot and killed by police, versus 4 police officers shot and killed in the line of duty, one of which was shot and killed by another cop.
Yeah.
So 3, really.
Pretty much.
And they wonder why I say police officers should be shot on sight. Which, again, is a statement about the morality of the action and not a suggestion to do it.
I won't go that far yet, but I will say that I would not complain if police officers in America were just disarmed.
Yeah, that would work too. Well, I began by saying that they should be arrested on sight. Because they should. They're criminals. Arrest them.
Yeah, they're criminals.
But obviously, they're not going to go along with that. They're going to resist.
Yeah, they're the ones that think they're supposed to be arresting the criminals, except themselves.
Yeah. So when they resist that arrest, what do you have to do? You have to shoot them. 'Cause you're playing by cop rules at this point.
Right.
They're resisting arrest. You have to shoot them. There's just no alternative, right?
That's what they do to people that are resisting arrest.
So at some point, I was like, I might as well just cut out the middleman and just say, okay, shoot cops on sight. Don't shoot cops on
Well, you
sight.
can give them an opportunity to surrender.
That's true. Well, they can surrender right now by turning in their badges and walking away. Don't go anywhere. Free Talk Live is coming up next.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University Economic